She had one choice: sell herself to the devil or watch her mother die. Jasmine Bennett stood in the penthouse of Chicago's most feared man, 67 floors above a city that had already forgotten her name. Carlo Luciano. The man who owned people. The man who felt nothing. His eyes, cold as winter, sharp as steel, moved over her like she was already his property. 365 days, he said, his voice a death sentence wrapped in silk. You belong to me. You do what I say, when I say it, how I say it. No questions. No refusals. No escape. Her hands shook. 24 hours. That's all the time her mother had left. $340,000. That's what the experimental treatment cost. 1 year of her life. That's what he demanded. What would you require me to do? The words barely escaped her throat. Carlo moved closer. Predatory. Overwhelming. Dangerous. Whatever I deem necessary. His paw stretched like a blade against skin. I might need you at social functions. I might need you to run errands. I might need you to. He stopped. Let her imagination paint the horror. Or I might simply need you to be silent while I work. The point is. He leaned in, his breath cold against her ear. You won't know until it's too late to refuse. This was slavery. This was madness. This was the price of love. That's the deal, he said, no apology in his voice. Take it or leave it. But decide now, Miss Bennett. Your mother's heart is failing. And I'm the only one who can save her. Behind her, the glittering city of broken dreams. Ahead of her, a man who traded in darkness and owned half the underworld. In her chest, a mother's heartbeat on borrowed time. Carlo extended his hand, manicured, powerful, waiting. 1 year of her life for her mother's survival. 1 year of not knowing what this beautiful monster would demand. 1 year that would either destroy her, or change everything. Jasmine looked at that hand. Salvation or damnation. Freedom or chains. Life or death. And then she made the choice that would seal both their fates. We have a deal. His fingers closed around hers, warm, strong, possessive, and she realized with bone-deep terror that she'd just sold herself to a man who might never let her go. Welcome to your new life, Miss Bennett, Carlo whispered, his thumb tracing her knuckles like a brand. I hope you survive it. The elevator doors closed behind her 9 hours later, and Jasmine Bennett walked out into the rain, no longer free, no longer her own, no longer sure if she'd just saved her mother or signed her own death warrant. 24 hours to say goodbye. 365 days of the unknown. And one man who would either break her completely, or teach her what it really means to be alive. What would you sacrifice to save someone you love? Have you ever had to make an impossible choice? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Welcome back, my beautiful family and friends. If you are hooked in and ready to enjoy the story, click subscribe and let me know in the comments section where you are watching from, because tomorrow I'll be giving you an interesting story such as this one and you don't want to miss it. Now, let us begin. You're younger than I expected, he said, circling her slowly. Either very brave or very foolish. Desperate, Jasmine corrected. I need money. You need, whatever it is men like you need. Men like me. A ghost of a smile. And what kind of man do you think I am? The kind who can get me $340,000 by tomorrow. Please. My mother, she's dying. Stop. One word, cutting through her panic. Begging is unattractive. State your offer. Jasmine swallowed hard. I'll work for you. However long it takes. I have a master's degree in social work, I'm good with people. I have people for those things. Carlo poured himself a drink. You came to me specifically, Miss Bennett. Why? Because you're the only one who might say yes, she thought. Because I'm out of time, and I would sell my soul to save her. Because you have a reputation for unconventional business arrangements. Your obedience, he said, tasting the word. Here are my terms. I'll pay your mother's medical bills in full. In exchange, you belong to me for 1 year. You'll live where I tell you, go where I tell you, do what I tell you. 365 days of absolute obedience. Jasmine's stomach turned to ice. What exactly would you require? Whatever I deem necessary. I might need you to attend functions as my companion. Run errands. Or simply sit in silence. You won't know until I tell you. He paused. Take it or leave it. Your mother's clock is ticking. What was 1 year measured against a lifetime? If I agree, I need it in writing. For the first time, approval crossed his face. Smart. You'll sign tomorrow morning. The money will be transferred within the hour. And if I don't survive the year? Then your mother continues to receive care, and a trust fund will be established. He extended his hand. I'm cruel, Miss Bennett, but I honor my contracts. Do we have a deal? Jasmine took his hand. His skin was warm, which surprised her. We have a deal. His thumb brushed across her knuckles. Welcome to your new life, Miss Bennett. I'll send a car for you at 8 a.m. Everything else will be provided. Wait, tomorrow? But I need time. The contract begins when you leave this building. You have 9 hours of freedom left. Use them wisely. Jasmine stumbled out into the rain and called the hospital. Mom's stable, the nurse told her. It's taken care of, Jasmine interrupted, her voice breaking. By tomorrow morning, everything will be paid in full. Her mother was sleeping when Jasmine arrived, surrounded by machines keeping her tethered to life. Jasmine took her hand and felt tears finally break free. I'm sorry, Mama. I found a way to save you, but I don't know if you'd be proud or ashamed. I just know I can't lose you. At 7:30, she walked out of the hospital a free woman for the last time. The black Mercedes was waiting at precisely 8 a.m. inside, a garment bag hung with a note, First lesson, you represent me now. Dress accordingly. See. As the car pulled into traffic, Jasmine watched her old neighborhood disappear. Ahead lay only the unknown, and a man with winter eyes who'd purchased a year of her life without care for what she might feel. The estate sat 40 minutes outside the city, hidden behind iron gates and armed guards. The main house emerged from morning mist like something from a Gothic novel, all gray stone and windows that reflected nothing but sky. Her room was larger than her entire apartment. The walk-in closet was already filled with clothes in her exact size. Mr. Luciano is thorough, the driver said. He had someone collect your measurements from your apartment last week. Last week? But I only contacted him 2 days ago. Like I said. Thorough. He gestured to a panel. Intercom system. There's a schedule on the desk. I suggest you memorize it. I'm Marcus, by the way. The folder contained her new life reduced to bullet points. Wake at 6, breakfast at 7, available for Carlos requirements at 8. 23 rules including, do not leave the estate, do not contact anyone from your previous life, obey all instructions immediately. Her phone buzzed, East Wing Library. Now. CL. The library was floor-to-ceiling bookshelves and leather furniture. Carlos sat reading, Machiavelli's The Prince, looking less like a predator in daylight. Then he looked up, and those winter eyes reminded her exactly who she was dealing with. You're 3 minutes late. We'll work on that. He gestured to a chair. Sit. We need to establish ground rules. I read the schedule. Forget half of it. Those are for show. He leaned forward. Here's the truth, Miss Bennett. I didn't agree to this because I need a servant. I see a woman who walked into a predator's den because she loves someone more than she fears death. That's rare. It makes you either incredibly foolish or incredibly valuable. He handed her coffee, black, exactly how she took it. Your mother. Diane Bennett. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Raised you alone. You were supposed to change the world. Instead, you're here. You investigated me. Her bills were paid at 6 this morning. Treatment begins this afternoon. Her doctors are optimistic. His eyes held hers. Don't thank me yet. 3 months from now, I'm hosting a charity gala. It's a front for me to negotiate an arms deal. I need someone innocent, educated, sophisticated. Someone who can work the room without raising suspicion. Someone not in any criminal database. You want me to help you sell weapons? I want you to help me stay alive. I have enemies who'd like to see me dead. This deal will protect my people. His tone sharpened. You agreed to obedience. That means doing things you don't approve of. If you can't handle that, tell me now. Jasmine's heart hammered. Leave? But walking away now felt like losing something she couldn't name yet. I'll stay. I gave my word. Your word. Carlo studied her. You still believe that means something. He moved toward the door. We start training tomorrow. For today, familiarize yourself with the estate. Marcus will help you. He paused. That driver who brought you here. Marcus. He lost his daughter to cancer 5 years ago. Couldn't afford treatment. When he heard about your situation, he volunteered to be your escort. Even monsters have hearts sometimes. Remember that when you're deciding what kind of man I am. Jasmine explored the estate, professional gym, Olympic pool, music room. Every room spoke of wealth and loneliness. No photographs. No personal touches. In the gardens, she found Marcus pruning roses. Your daughter, Jasmine said softly. I'm sorry. Lucy. She was 16. He clipped a dead bloom. Mr. Luciano tried to help. Offered to pay for everything. But we found out too late. His eyes met hers. The hospitals turned us away. Carlo Luciano wrote a check and asked for nothing in return. That's what he does when people are loyal to him. But the weapons, the violence. I won't pretend he's a saint. But he keeps monsters at bay with bigger teeth than theirs. Marcus returned to his roses. Give him a chance. You might be surprised. That night, Jasmine found a box outside her door. Inside, a book, Letters to a Young Social Worker. A bookmark at Chapter 7, Surviving Compromises Without Losing Yourself. No note. But she knew who'd left it. She read until sleep took her, and the last thing she saw was the Chicago skyline glittering through her window, distant, untouchable, and somehow still hers. Training began at dawn. Elena Vasquez, elegant, silver-haired, severe, appeared like a European finishing school instructor. 12 weeks to transform you into someone who can hold her own among Chicago's elite. 6 hours minimum daily. Shall we begin? Walking with books balanced on her head. Practicing handshakes. Learning which fork for which course. How to make small talk with politicians and socialites. Smile with your eyes, Elena corrected constantly. People in Mr. Luciano's world can spot fake smiles. They're predators. Show weakness, and they'll devour you. By lunch, Jasmine ached everywhere. Carlo appeared just as Elena demonstrated curtsy technique. How is she progressing? She learns quickly. Good instincts. But too honest, it shows. She'll need to learn deception. Take your lunch, Miss Vasquez. I'll handle the afternoon. When Elena left, Carlo held out his hand. Dance lesson. Music filled the room, a waltz, slow and haunting. Carlo moved with surprising grace, leading her through steps she didn't know she remembered. You're tense, he murmured. Relax. I'm dancing with a man who owns me. I don't own you. I've purchased your time, your obedience, your assistance. But I don't own you, Jasmine. There's a difference. It was the first time he'd used her first name. Something shifted between them. Then what do you call this? Complicated. He spun her, pulled her back closer. Why did you really agree to help me? Carlo was silent for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. 3 years ago, my sister got sick. Brain tumor. She was 25. I threw everything at it. Nothing worked. I watched her die. His expression remained neutral, but something cold lived in his eyes. When you walked in, desperate to save your mother, I saw my sister. I saw myself. And I thought, maybe this time, the story ends differently. So you're trying to save me to make up for not saving her? I'm trying to save your mother because no one should bury someone they love when there's a chance of preventing it. The music ended. They stood connected, silence stretching between them. His phone buzzed. We have a problem. The gala has been moved up. 3 weeks, not 3 months. 3 weeks? But I'm not ready. You'll have to be. He grabbed his jacket. From this point forward, things get more dangerous. Stay close to Marcus or Elena. Trust no one else. What about you? Can I trust you? That's the one question I can't answer for you. The next 2 weeks blurred together. Elena drilled her relentlessly. Victor taught ballroom dancing. Every night at 7, Carlo appeared for dinner in the solarium. They'd talk, and slowly, Jasmine realized she was beginning to understand him. She learned he read Neruda poetry. That he'd earned 2 master's degrees before taking over his father's organization at 23. That he hated violence but wielded it with precision. That his favorite color was the exact shade of blue the sky turned before dawn. She learned he asked about her mother every evening. That he'd arranged video calls twice a week. That he noticed when she was tired and adjusted her training. She learned that beneath the cold exterior lived a man who felt too much and showed too little. And she learned something terrifying: she was starting to care about him. The evening of the 14th day, Carlo set down his wine glass with unusual deliberation. There's something you need to know about the gala. The man I'm negotiating with, Victor Kozlov, he's the reason my sister died. The room tilted. What? 3 years ago, Kozlov controlled distribution of an experimental drug. The one that might have saved Sophia. He refused to sell to me, about leverage, about power over me. His hands clenched. She died 6 weeks later. I've spent 3 years positioning for this deal, for the moment I could get close enough to destroy him. You're using the arms deal as cover for revenge. For justice. Kozlov traffics weapons to terrorists, drugs to children, people to the highest bidder. The FBI has been trying to bring him down for years. This deal is my chance to gather evidence, to feed information to the right people, to ensure he finally pays. And where do I fit? Kozlov has a weakness: intelligent, beautiful women. He collects them, ruins them, discards them. Carlo's jaw tightened. I need him distracted while I'm taking everything from him. You're the distraction, Jasmine. You're the bait. The words hit like a physical blow. After everything, she was just bait. So this whole time, the kindness, making me feel like, was real, Carlo said quietly. All of it was real. I didn't expect to care about you. I didn't expect you to be smart and brave and so good that being near you makes me remember what I used to be. Then don't use me like this. There is no other way. Kozlov will be at that gala because word leaked that I'd acquired a woman I actually care about. He can't resist trying to humiliate me. It's how men like him operate. So I let him, what? Let him think he can. But I'll be there. Marcus will be there. 12 men positioned throughout whose only job is keeping you safe. Kozlov will never lay a hand on you, Jasmine. I swear it. You can't promise that. Then I'll burn down the world before I let him touch you. The words came out raw, and Jasmine realized he meant it. I need to think. You have until tomorrow. He moved toward the door. For what it's worth, if there was any other way that didn't put you in danger, I'd take it. But you're the one piece that makes sense to him. Because it's true. After he left, Jasmine stood watching the moon rise. She thought about her mother. About Sophia Luciano. About all the other people Kozlov had hurt. And she thought about Carlo, broken, brilliant, dangerous Carlo, who'd let her slip through the cracks in his fortress. When she returned to her room, she found a velvet box. Inside, a necklace. A single sapphire on a platinum chain, the stone the exact color of pre-dawn sky. The note read, "You deserve beauty that matches your courage. Wear this tomorrow, and I'll know your answer." See. Jasmine clasped the necklace around her throat. The choice had already been made. Somewhere between the dancing and the dinners, she'd stopped being his captive and become his partner. Tomorrow, she'd tell him yes. If someone showed you kindness after purchasing your freedom, would you trust them? What would you do in Jasmine's position? Drop your thoughts below. The morning Jasmine wore the sapphire to breakfast, Carlo's eyes found it immediately. His shoulders relaxed slightly. She'd given her answer. 3 days until the gala, Elena announced. "We need to finalize your cover story and ensure you can handle Kozlov's attention without revealing disgust." My disgust? Viktor Kozlov is charming and utterly repulsive. He'll flirt, touch your hand, perhaps your waist. He'll say things designed to make you uncomfortable. You need to respond with grace and subtle resistance, enough to intrigue, not offend. Carlo appeared in the doorway. "Elena, give us the room." When they were alone, Carlo moved closer, invading her space deliberately. "Kozlov will stand this close." Closer. He'll use his size to dominate. "What do you do?" "I don't step back. That shows fear." "Good. What else?" "Maintain eye contact. Smile, controlled. Acknowledge his power without submitting. And when he touches you..." Carlo's hand moved to her waist. "When he does this..." Jasmine's breath hitched. "I laugh softly. Create distance by reaching for a drink. Break contact without obvious rejection." Perfect. But Carlo didn't move his hand. "And if he asks you to leave with him?" "I defer to you." "No." Carlo's voice dropped. "You say yes." "What?" "You say yes, and I'll intervene. Kozlov needs to believe he's getting under my skin, that he's found my weakness. Can you do that? Trust that I won't let you actually go? You're asking me to trust you with everything. I'm asking you to be brave for a few more hours." Marcus provided the most practical training. 12 exits. For require codes you now know. If something goes wrong, there'll be a car at the southeast entrance. Black sedan, license 847. Driver's Anna. Safe house location. "You really think I might need to run?" Marcus's expression was grave. Carlo gave explicit orders. "If it comes down to capturing Kozlov or keeping you safe, we choose you. Every time." He paused. "He cares about you. Maybe more than he's ready to admit. That makes you both his greatest strength and his most dangerous weakness." The evening before the gala, Jasmine found herself outside Carlo's private office, the one room forbidden to her. The door was ajar. Light spilled out. "You're breaking rule number 3, Carlo said without looking up. "You left the door open." "Perhaps I wanted you to break it." He raised his eyes. "I can't sleep either. Too many ways this could go wrong. Show me why you're doing this." Carlo turned his laptop toward her. Photographs. Young women, some barely teenagers. All with dead eyes. Kozlov's victims from the last 3 years alone. Women he trafficked, used, destroyed. The authorities can't prove it. He's too protected. He clicked to another folder. "For 3 years, I've been building this case. The FBI will move forward, but they need proof of current operations. Financial records only he has access to. You're going to steal them during the gala. While he's distracted trying to humiliate me." Carlo's jaw tightened. "It's a terrible plan. It puts you in danger. But it's the only one that works. I'm not afraid. You should be. I am. Of Kozlov? Of losing you. The admission cost him. I've lost everyone I've cared about. I don't let people in because everyone I love dies or gets destroyed. I'm not going anywhere. After tomorrow, after you see what I'm truly capable of, you'll realize what you've gotten into. And you'll want to go out. Jasmine touched his face. Carlo Luciano, you are the most infuriating, terrifying man I've ever met. You bought my freedom to save my mother, then gave me purpose. You think you're a monster, but monsters don't cry for their dead sisters or spend 3 years gathering evidence to save strangers. Jasmine. I see you. Not the mask. You. And I'm choosing to stand beside you tomorrow because someone should. The silence stretched, heavy with things unsaid. Carlo stood, and suddenly they were too close. If we cross this line, there's no going back, Carlo said roughly. You become mine in truth. And I become yours, with all the complications. Maybe I want the complications. Carlo's hand cupped her face. After tomorrow, when this is over, ask me again. If you still want this, want me, knowing everything, having seen everything, I'll give you a choice, stay or go, freely, with no obligation. And if I choose to stay, then I'll spend every day proving I'm worth the choice. His forehead touched hers. But first, we survive tomorrow. They stood balanced on the edge of something that could save them or destroy them both. Finally, reluctantly, Carlo stepped back. You should rest. Tomorrow will be the longest day of your life. As she reached the door, she turned back. Carlo? Thank you for letting me see you. The real you. After she left, Carlo pressed his hand against his chest where her presence lingered like a brand. If she still chose him after tomorrow, he'd give her everything. But first, they had to survive. The morning of the gala dawned gray and cold. Jasmine woke to find a dress, midnight blue, elegant, stunning. A note, you are the bravest person I know. Whatever happens tonight, remember that. See. She was terrified. She was ready. She was choosing Carlo Luciano, and hoping they'd survive the night ahead. The grand ballroom glittered like a jewel box. Jasmine descended the curved staircase on Carlo's arm, and felt every eye turn toward them. Breathe, Carlo murmured. You're magnificent. Luciano. The voice cut through the crowd. So this is the treasure everyone's been whispering about. Viktor Kozlov was exactly as terrifying as imagined. Tall, powerfully built, silver hair and frozen lake eyes. Handsome the way a wolf is handsome, until you remember the teeth. Kozlov. Carlo's hand tightened on Jasmine's arm. May I introduce Jasmine Bennett? Enchanted. Kozlov kissed her hand, his mouth cold against her skin. Carlo has always had exquisite taste, but this is a masterpiece. You're too kind, Jasmine withdrew her hand with practiced grace. I understand you're a graduate of Northwestern. How fascinating that someone so educated would associate with a man of Carlo's reputation. I choose based on character, not reputation. Wise and beautiful. Dangerous combination. Kozlov's eyes slid to Carlo with obvious challenge. You must guard her carefully. Many here would love to steal such a prize. I protect what's mine, Carlo said dangerously. Do you? We shall see. The evening proceeded like a choreographed dance. Carlo introduced Jasmine to politicians, business leaders, and philanthropists. She played her role perfectly. But Kozlov circled them like a shark. 2 hours in, Carlo's phone buzzed. I need to take this. Business that can't wait. Marcus will stay with you. Don't leave the ballroom. No matter what. But Marcus was pulled away minutes later. Suddenly, Jasmine stood alone. Your protector has abandoned you, Kozlov appeared. How careless. Or perhaps convenient. He gestured toward the terrace. It's warm here. Perhaps some fresh air? This was it. Say yes. Trust the plan. That would be lovely. On the terrace, the October air was cold. They were alone, or appeared to be. You know, Kozlov said, moving too close, Carlo thinks he's very clever. Building his case against me, planning his revenge. Did he tell you about his sister? Jasmine's blood ran cold. I don't know what you're talking about. Sophia. Beautiful girl. Pity about the cancer. His smile was cruel. Carlo blames me. He spent 3 years plotting. And you, my dear, are his final gambit. You're mistaken. Am I? How much is he paying you to play this role? Kozlov's hand shot out, gripped her arm hard. Or perhaps you've actually fallen for the monster? How deliciously tragic. Let go of me. Not yet. What if I take you right now, in front of all these people, and watch him finally lose control? Fear spiked through her. Where were Carlo's men? This was supposed to be controlled. Ah, there he is, Kozlov breathed. Right on schedule. Carlo burst through the doors, pure rage on his face. Get your hands off her. Or what, Luciano? You'll make a scene? Expose yourself as the violent criminal you are? Kozlov laughed, releasing her arm. Show everyone what you really are. This was wrong. Carlo was supposed to interrupt smoothly. Instead, he looked genuinely out of control. Jasmine, come here, Carlo commanded. She moved toward him, and saw it, Elena, standing behind Carlo. Something in the woman's expression, triumph, made Jasmine's instincts scream. Carlo, wait. Too late. Carlo reached for her, and Kozlov retreated, hands raised in mock surrender. Careful. All these cameras, all these witnesses. Cameras? Jasmine's eyes swept the terrace, mounted in corners where they hadn't been before. It's a trap, she breathed. Of course it's a trap, Elena said, her refined accent gone, replaced by something harder, Russian. Did you really think Victor was acting alone? That he didn't have people inside your organization, Carlo? People you trusted? Carlo's face went white. You've been working for him the whole time. 3 years, watching you build your case, feeding him every piece of information. And tonight, the finale, Carlo Luciano, violent criminal, assaulting a rival businessman. All caught on video. Your reputation destroyed, your evidence inadmissible, your operation exposed. The FBI will have nothing. While you've been focused on Victor, my people destroyed your evidence. Corrupting files, eliminating witnesses. It's over, Carlo. You've lost. I'm sorry, Kozlov said, not sounding sorry. But business is business. Revenge is best served on national television. Carlo stood frozen, defeat written across his features. But Jasmine's mind raced. The cameras. The timing. The trap that relied on Carlo's feelings for her. She looked at the cameras, calculating angles. At Elena and Kozlov, confident in victory. At Carlo, about to lose everything again. And she made a choice. You're right about one thing, Jasmine said, stepping forward. This is a performance. And you've been watching the wrong show. She moved to Carlo, took his hand, squeezed once. Trust me? His eyes met hers. He nodded. The real story isn't about a violent criminal attacking someone. It's about a man who spent 3 years gathering evidence against a human trafficker. Evidence that I've been secretly copying and uploading to a secure server for the past 2 weeks. Elena's smile faltered. You're bluffing. Am I? Ask yourself, why would Carlo give me access to everything unless I was doing exactly what you've been doing? Copying everything, but for a different purpose? Jasmine pulled out a second phone Carlo had given her weeks ago. Every file. Every photograph. Every testimony. All stored and set to automatically release to the FBI, media, and every law enforcement agency in 3 countries if I don't enter a code in the next 4 minutes. Kozlov's confidence cracked. She's lying. Is she? Carlo's voice regained its steel. You've been so focused on Elena's information that you never questioned whether I was feeding her exactly what I wanted you to know. Every secret she gave you, carefully curated to make you confident. To make you sloppy. The real evidence, Jasmine continued, the files that actually matter, those were never in Carlo's office. They were encrypted, distributed, secured. And yes, I've been copying them. Because that was always the plan. Elena thought she was the inside man, but she was just another distraction. Prove it, Elena snapped. Jasmine pulled up the app, turned the screen. Countdown timer. 3 minutes, 42 seconds. Files queued for release. Destination addresses visible, FBI Cyber Crimes Division. DOJ. Interpol. Enter the code, and it stops, Jasmine said. Or don't, and in less than 4 minutes, everything goes public. Your operations. Your victims. Your bank accounts, associates, crimes spanning 20 years. All of it. Kozlov lunged for the phone, but Marcus appeared from the shadows and blocked him. 2 more of Carlo's men materialized. 3 minutes, Carlo said softly. What's it going to be, Victor? Release Jasmine, surrender peacefully, and maybe we negotiate which files get released. Or we do this the hard way, and you spend the rest of your life in a prison where your former associates ensure you never testify. Finally, Kozlov raised his hands. Very clever, Luciano. Using the girl as the real weapon all along. No, Carlo corrected, his eyes finding Jasmine's. I gave her the truth and trusted her to choose. She chose justice. She chose bravery. She chose me. Elena made one last desperate move, but Marcus was faster. Within seconds, both she and Kozlov were restrained, and police, real police, were flooding the terrace. As Kozlov was led away in handcuffs, he looked back. This isn't over. Yes, Carlos said quietly. It is. Jasmine's hands shook as she lowered the phone. Carlo caught her as her knees buckled, pulled her against his chest. You were magnificent, he whispered. Terrifying and magnificent and too brave for your own good. Was any of it real? The evidence on the phone. All of it. Every word you said was true. I've been preparing this failsafe for months, but I didn't tell you because I needed your reactions genuine. I needed Kozlov to believe he'd won. Carlo pulled back, cupped her face. I'm sorry I put you through that. I'm sorry I made you doubt. I understand. And she did. Finally, completely, she understood the game he'd been playing. It's over, Carlo said, wonder in his voice. 3 years, and it's finally over. But as Jasmine looked past him to FBI agents photographing evidence, she realized this wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. 3 days after Kozlov's arrest, Jasmine stood in Carlo's office, watching him work through legal documentation. He'd barely touched her since the gala. Barely looked at her. Carlo, she said for the 3rd time. I'm listening. But he wasn't. No, you're not. You haven't been listening for 3 days. Ever since I put you in danger? He finally looked up, anguish in his eyes. Ever since I used you as bait, let a monster get his hands on you. Yes, Jasmine, I've been distracted. You weren't helpless. It worked. We won. We got lucky. He moved to the window. Elena had been feeding Kozlov information for 3 years, and I never suspected. What else did I miss? What if something had happened to you? But it didn't. This time. He turned, and she saw raw fear. There will always be a next time in my world. Always another threat. And you, he gripped her shoulders with trembling hands. You're too important to risk. Too precious to lose. So what are you saying? Your year is almost up. 6 more days, and you're free. Free to go back to your life, to your mother, to a world where you don't watch over your shoulder. His thumbs traced circles on her shoulders. I love you too much to keep you in this darkness. The confession hit like a physical blow. You love me? God, yes. I've loved you since you stood in my office and offered yourself to save your mother. Since you wore that sapphire and chose to trust me. Since you faced down Kozlov with more courage than I've seen in 20 years. His forehead pressed against hers. I love you, which is why I'm letting you go. And if I don't want to go? Then you're not thinking clearly. He pulled back, put distance between them. Your mother is in remission. Hospital bills paid. You have your whole life ahead of you. Take it. Please. You're pushing me away. I'm setting you free. Like I promised. What if freedom isn't what I want anymore? Her voice rose. What if I want complicated and dangerous in you? Then you're a fool. But his voice broke. Maybe I am. She moved toward him, closing the distance. Maybe I'm a fool who fell in love with a man who thinks he's a monster. Maybe I see past the darkness to the person underneath, the one who grieves his sister, who protects his people, who spent 3 years fighting for justice. Jasmine. I love you, Carlo Luciano. And I choose you. Not because I'm obligated, but because you've shown me that love isn't about perfection, it's about choosing someone even when they're broken. Especially when they're broken. Carlo stared at her, hope fighting fear. I can't keep you safe. I tried with Sophia, and I failed. You won't. Because this time, you're not alone. She took his hands. This time, you have a partner. Someone who won't let you face the darkness by yourself. You deserve better. I deserve to choose. And I choose you. The dam broke. Carlo pulled her into his arms with desperate strength, buried his face in her hair, and held on like she was the only solid thing in a world of quicksand. I'm afraid, he admitted. I'm terrified of losing you. Then we change your world. Jasmine pulled back to see his face. The FBI deal, you're consulting now. That's a start. We find more ways to shift from darkness to light. Together. It won't be easy. Nothing worth having ever is. She smiled through tears. Besides, I didn't survive Elena's training just to walk away before the good part. Carlo laughed, actually laughed. The good part? The part where the reformed criminal and the social worker build something beautiful. The part where we prove that love is stronger than fear. The part where we get our happy ending. I don't deserve you. Lucky for you, I'm not asking permission. She kissed him then, soft and fierce and full of promise. A kiss that tasted like tears and triumph. When they broke apart, Carlo rested his forehead against hers. 6 days left on our contract. Then you better make me a better offer. Stay. Not for a year, but forever. Not as my obligation, but as my partner, my equal, my love. His gray eyes held hers. Help me build something better. Help me be better. Choose me every day, and I'll spend every day proving I'm worth the choice. That's a terrible business proposition, Jasmine said, smiling. No exit clause, no guarantees, high risk of complications. Terrible, Carlo agreed. Do we have a deal? Jasmine thought about the girl who'd walked into his office 6 months ago, desperate and afraid. Thought about everything she'd survived, everything she'd become. Thought about the man in front of her, broken and healing, hers. We have a deal, she whispered. This time, when he kissed her, it felt like coming home. 6 days later, Jasmine stood in her mother's hospital room, watching morning sun paint everything gold. Diane Bennett sat upright in bed, color returned to her cheeks. You look different, her mother said. Lighter. Like you've been carrying something heavy and finally set it down. I feel different. Jasmine moved to the window. Mama, I need to tell you something. About how I paid for your treatment. She told the story, the desperate deal, the dangerous man, the transformation from transaction to love. Her mother listened, her expression shifting from shock to understanding to pride. You sold yourself to save me, Diane said quietly. I traded time for time. And somewhere in that trade, I found something I wasn't looking for. Love? Purpose. Direction. A man who sees me and loves me anyway. Jasmine smiled. And yes, love. So much love it terrifies me. Diane was silent. Then she took her daughter's hand. Your father would have done the same for me. That's what love is, choosing someone over safety, over fear. Her grip tightened. But tell me true. Are you happy? Deliriously, terrifyingly happy. Then I'm happy too. Diane's eyes glistened. Though I need to meet this Carlo Luciano and decide if he's worthy of my daughter. He's not, Jasmine admitted with a laugh. But he's trying to be. A knock interrupted them. Carlo stood in the doorway, holding simple daisies and looking more nervous than she'd ever seen him. Mrs. Bennett, he said. I'm Carlo Luciano. I hope this isn't a bad time. Diane studied him, the expensive suit, the dangerous edge. But she also saw the way his eyes found Jasmine, the softness that crept in, the careful way he held the flowers. Come in, she said. Let's talk about how you plan to treat my daughter. What followed was the most terrifying negotiation of Carlo's life. Diane extracted promises and assurances with expert skill. By the time she finished, Carlo had committed to supporting Jasmine's graduate school completion, funding her community center dream, and proving every day that he deserved her love. And if you hurt her, Diane concluded, I will find a way to make you regret it. I don't doubt that, ma'am, Carlo replied with genuine respect. But I promise you won't need to. Jasmine is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Good answer. Diane smiled. Now, tell me about this community center. 3 months later, Jasmine stood in what would become the Bennett Luciano Community Center in Inglewood. The abandoned building was transforming, computer labs, commercial kitchen, meeting rooms, gym. Everything she'd dreamed of. Contractors say 2 months until opening, Marcus said, now project manager. 200 applications for staff positions. 200? People want to be part of something good, Marcus replied. You and Carlo are showing them that's possible. Carlo appeared in the doorway, and Jasmine's heart still skipped. 6 months of official partnership, and she still wasn't used to the way he looked at her. The FBI just called, he said. Kozlov's trial date is set. They want both of us to testify. How do you feel? Terrified. Relieved. Hopeful. He pulled her close. 3 years ago, I wanted revenge. Now I just want justice. That's progress, right? That's growth, Jasmine corrected. They stood surrounded by construction dust and possibility. Carlo had shifted his organization's focus, still powerful, still operating in gray areas, but moving toward legitimate business. Consulting with law enforcement. Helping prosecute traffickers. Using his network for good. It wasn't perfect. He still made decisions that made her uncomfortable. But he was trying. Every day, trying to be better. I have something for you, Carlo said, pulling out a small box. Carlo. It's not what you think. Not yet. He opened it to reveal a key, old, brass, simple. The deed to this building. In your name. Not ours, not mine, yours. So no matter what happens, this place is protected. Your dream is protected. Tears blurred her vision. You didn't have to. Yes, I did. Because you gave me everything, trust, love, purpose, hope. The least I can do is make sure your dreams flourish. He cupped her face. Besides, I have plans for my own grand gesture. This is just an appetizer. What kind of plans? The kind that involve convincing you to legally tie yourself to a reformed criminal for life. His smile was nervous and hopeful. Think you might be interested? Depends on the proposal. Then I better make it good. He kissed her forehead. I'm working on it. You have all the time in the world, Jasmine promised. 6 months later, on an autumn evening when the Chicago sky turned Carlo's favorite shade of blue, he took Jasmine to the estate's gardens. Rose petals marked a path to the center, where Marcus and Diane and a small gathering of chosen family waited. You said you were working on a proposal, Jasmine said, voice unsteady. I lied. I've been working on a life. Carlo took her hands. Jasmine Bennett, a year ago you walked into my office and offered yourself to save your mother. You were brave and desperate and so full of love it took my breath away. You've spent the last year teaching me that monsters can become men, that darkness can turn to light, that love is the most dangerous and beautiful choice anyone can make. He dropped to one knee. I'm not perfect. I probably never will be. My past is complicated, my present is messy, and my future is uncertain. But the one thing I'm absolutely sure of is that I want to spend every day of that uncertain future choosing you. Loving you. Supporting your dreams and building new ones together. He pulled out a ring, sapphire surrounded by diamonds, matching the necklace from a year ago. Marry me. Not because you owe me, not because we made a deal, but because we choose each other. Every single day. What do you say? Jasmine looked at the man kneeling before her, this complicated, dangerous, beautiful man who'd saved her mother, stolen her heart, and shown her that love was worth every risk. She looked at the gathering, Marcus, who'd found purpose again. Diane, healthy and beaming. The life they'd built from desperation and darkness and impossible choices. She looked at her own heart, which had grown 3 sizes since that rainy October night. Yes, she whispered. Then louder, yes. 1,000 times yes. Carlo stood, slipped the ring on, and kissed her like they had all the time in the world, because they did. All the time to build their community center, to help people who needed second chances, to prove that love really could transform even the darkest hearts. The celebration was small but perfect. Diane cried and threatened Carlo one more time for good measure. Marcus toasted second chances and new beginnings. And as the sun set, painting everything gold, Jasmine realized this was the fairy tale she'd never known she was writing. Not about a girl saved by a prince, but about 2 broken people who saved each other. Not about obligation or transaction, but about choice and love and courage to keep choosing when it would be easier to walk away. What are you thinking? Carlo murmured as they swayed to music only they could hear. That I'd do it all again. Every terrifying moment. Because it led me here. To you. To us. Even the parts where I was insufferable. Especially those parts. She looked at him, memorizing happiness softening his features. Carlo Luciano, you are the best terrible decision I ever made. And you, Jasmine Bennett soon to be Luciano, are the miracle I didn't know I needed. He spun her once. Thank you. For what? For seeing me. For choosing me. For teaching me that even monsters can learn to love. You were never a monster. Just a man who forgot how to hope. I just reminded you. As stars came out above Chicago, Jasmine thought about the girl she'd been a year ago, desperate, afraid, willing to sacrifice everything. She thought she was giving up her freedom. Instead, she'd found it. Freedom wasn't the absence of obligation. It was the presence of choice. And every day, she chose Carlo. Every day, he chose her. Every day, they chose love over fear, hope over despair, light over darkness. It wasn't a perfect story. But it was theirs. And that made it perfect enough. Life rarely goes according to plan, but sometimes the detours lead us exactly where we need to be. Have you ever made a sacrifice that ended up being a blessing in disguise? Share your story in the comments, we'd love to hear how you found hope in unexpected places. Because at the end of the day, we all deserve a love worth fighting for. 2 years later, the Bennett Luciano Community Center celebrated its 2nd anniversary. Over 500 kids had come through their programs. Dozens had received college scholarships. 3 had started their own community initiatives. Jasmine stood at the podium, 6 months pregnant, and looked out at hopeful faces. 2 years ago, I made a deal with a man I barely knew, she began. I traded my freedom for my mother's life, thinking I was giving up everything. Instead, I found everything. I found purpose. I found love. I found proof that no matter how dark the night, morning always comes. She found Carlo in the crowd, her husband, her partner, her home. He held up their daughter, Sophia, named for the sister he'd lost and the hope he'd found. The toddler waved, and Carlo's smile was pure light. This center exists because someone showed me that second chances aren't just possible, they're worth fighting for. That redemption isn't a destination, it's a journey. And that love, real love, is the bravest thing anyone can choose. So to everyone here today, everyone who's struggled, everyone who's afraid, everyone who thinks their story is too broken, I'm here to tell you, it's not. Your story is still being written. And as long as you're breathing, you get to choose what comes next. Choose hope. Choose courage. Choose love. Even when, especially when, it's terrifying. Because the best things in life are usually the scariest to reach for. And sometimes, the sacrifice you make to save someone else ends up saving you too. The applause was thunderous. But Jasmine only had eyes for Carlo, who mouthed 3 words, "I love you." She mouthed them back, knowing they'd spend the rest of their lives proving it. One choice at a time. One day at a time. One love, forever.